Hello, bonjour, and welcome to DITC Social live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and blasterradio.com. I am so glad to have you joining me this evening. Tonight we'll be discussing some hot topics, but keeping them light and fluffy, and taking some of your questions. So feel free to comment on whatever platform that you are on, and we'll bring you into the conversation. Ce soir, nous discuterons de certains sujets, mais en les gardant légers et amusants, et en répondant à certaines de vos questions. Alors, n'hésitez pas de faire part d'avec vos commentaires, quel que ce soit, sur la plateforme sur laquelle que vous vous trouvez, et nous vous ferons participer à la conversation. Now, before I get going, I'd like to pay some respect to the Algonquin people who are the traditional keepers and guardians of this land. We acknowledge their long-standing relationship with this territory, which remains unceded. We pay respect to all Indigenous people from this region, from nations across Canada, who call Ottawa home. We acknowledge the traditional knowledge keepers, both young and old, and we honor their courageous leaders, past, present, and future. Nous rendons hommage au peuple algonquin gardien traditionnel de cette terre. Nous reconnaissons le lien sacré de longue date, l'unissant à ce territoire qui demeure non cédé. Nous rendons également hommage à tous les peuples autochtones qui habitent Ottawa, que ce soit de la région ou d'ailleurs au Canada. Nous reconnaissons les gardiens des savoirs traditionnels, jeunes et âgés. Et nous honorons aussi leurs courageux dirigeants d'hier, d'aujourd'hui et de demain. I want to preface this conversation by stating that this is a safe space and that our conversation today is based on a mutual respect, openness, and understanding. So feel free to comment on the platform and we will bring you into the conversation. I see lots of comments coming up. We will get you up here. Stay tuned. Je tiens à préciser que nous sommes dans un contexte sécuritaire et que la conversation d'aujourd'hui soit d'être imprégnante de respect mutuel, d'ouverture et de compréhension. Joignez-vous à la conversation en soumettant un commentaire à partir de la plateforme sur laquelle que vous vous trouvez. All right, so we're going to bring in the guests one by one. So once again, so you're going to notice I'm back to sitting down again because standing up with the camera angles, it was just too much for Andre to do. So I'm sitting back down again. Let's bring on our first guest. Notre première invitée. Today's show, we will be talking to three amazing community members who have transitioned. I Am Me, featuring the amazing journeys of Lana, Christine, and Tanya. Ce soir, nous parlerons à trois membres de la communauté qui ont fait la transition. Je suis moi, avec en vedette les étonnants voyages de Lana, Christine, et Tanya. My first guest of three is Lana Paulson, who has been a staple in the Ottawa Gatineau LGBTQ2 scene since 2004. Having been in two documentaries about her life on YouTube called You're in the Wrong Body, Kid, and another one that came out summer of 2019 on CBC titled An Ottawa Burlesque Performer Reveals Her Transition Tale. She works at Ottawa's Wicked Wanda's adult Let's try that again, Andre. She works at Wicked Wanda's Adult Emporium and has currently been working on a year-long project with local photographer Ruth Dick on a series called Self-Love. And it's following her journey after having problems with one of her breast implants and opting to have them both removed without replacement, and her journey of loving her body, scars and all. Please welcome to the screen, because I'm not on a stage. This is Lana. How are you, my beautiful darling?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today, Andre?
I am doing very good, very good. I've put my partial back in because I looked like a hockey player for many weeks. So it's like I'm tripping on my words. My first day using my new teeth. We've got Lillian here. Hello, Lillian.
Hi, Lillian.
Nicole Martin Whitaker. Gavin, oh my goodness. Hello, Gavin and Pierre. Bonsoir. Yeah, is that a cute little thing for Gavin?
I'm Pierre, yeah.
Oh, and Ruth Dick is here. Hello, madame. So honored to have you, Mr. Milky from blasttheradio.com. Well, how are things been with you?
Things have been great. Currently, I am sitting at home, not working at the moment due to, the COVID.
Oh, is there a problem going on? What are you talking about?
No, just people on taking public transit and just too many of them on public transit. It's just not very safe right now to be riding the bus.
It's not. It's not. Bonsoir, Nathalie, our Tupperware lady. All right, well, let's bring on the rest of the ladies, and then we can all have a conversation. We will have a little commercial for Wicked Wanda's halfway through the show, so we'll be able to promote that a little bit. My second guest of three is Christine Hiles. Born in 1972, Christine grew up in a small Ontario city and was the youngest of three kids, and she has no regrets. Her story is valid and she is strong. She is the first known out trans woman to have ever worked for Status of Women Canada, also known as WAGE, and she now works for Indigenous Services Canada, and she would like to see an end to the trans monster narrative in the mainstream media. Quote, what she wants for the future is to raise the average life expectancy of trans women by taking up space and staying alive as long as possible. Please welcome the beautiful Christine. I'm going to unmute you and click. Hello, my darling.
Hi, thanks for the intro and thanks for having me, Andre. Hi,
Oh, thank you for being here. We got Bill saying hello to you. Bill Fairbairn. If I'm saying your name wrong, then I'm sorry. And Trisha Black is saying hello to you.
Oh, hi, Trisha.
So things are good for you?
Yeah, for sure. Just surviving, I guess, like everybody during this whole craziness. I feel quite fortunate that I'm working because at least I have something to do during the day and
yeah,
kind of keep my mind off of like all the fact that you can't really do anything right now anyway. So might as well work.
Yeah, I'm going nuts. I can't wait to get out because I'm a people person, and although yes, I do have a day job, I'm going nuts. If I had a brick wall, I'd slam my head into it a couple of times because let's not even go there. All right. My next guest and final of three. Here we go. I've got too much to do. I've got to push play on a teleprompter and I need some help. Someday I'll get some help. All right. My third guest of three is Tanya King, who is a 28-year-old autistic transgender woman. She is a graduate of the Architectural Technologist program at Algonquin College and currently works for PSPC, which is my branch, but she also works in real property services. Tanya emerged in life as Vincent and struggled for years with late diagnosis of autism and years of bullying in school before being involved with the LGBTQ2+ community in Ottawa. He began performing as a drag queen in 2015 and since has become risen to the house queen of Swizzles, a bias-free bar in the city. In the near future, she will be challenging the Treasury Board, responsible for policy on the public service healthcare plan for outdated standards of practice for transgender cases, as well as expanding the scope of coverage by the public service health insurer for transgender peoples. Please welcome Tanya to the screen. Hello, Tanya.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm actually doing very good.
You're doing very good. So as we were all doing our little 15 minutes before the live started, this whole show started because of you. And I want to congratulate you and actually all three of you for actually being so brave and wanting to come here and telling your story. You're probably going to give a lot of people, boys and girls, a lot of inspiration to be their true, authentic self. So thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, give yourselves a round of applause. So let's get to our first question. So everybody else is watching, feel free to comment on whatever platform that you're on, and we'll bring you in. Lana, you used to be known as Candy Secret. Can you tell us how your life was then compared to your life now?
Well, when I was Candy's Secret, I was Ottawa's first openly trans burlesque performer. I performed all over Ottawa. I was in 2 burlesque festivals right here in town. And very outgoing. I mean, I'm still outgoing. The only difference is I'm not taking off my costume on stage for people and getting half naked. So the difference now, I work at Wicked Wanda at Emporium. I am actually the assistant manager there, which I am super, super proud of myself to get to. When I was doing burlesque, I was not working, actually. Well, I was in between jobs. But yeah, so the difference from then to now is I'm fully dressed when I go to work. And I'm not in front of an audience.
Wow. Well, it certainly is. We will show a little clip of some of the stuff that's at Wicked Wanda's that we filmed for the Community Pride Day that happened in the summer, which I got to see you, which had been so long since I've seen you. Oh, Wanda is actually watching. You're awesome, and I'm so fortunate, Lana. She appreciates you. Gavin is saying hello to Tanya.
Hi.
Yes, well, we just actually discussed that we were going to actually show the commercial for Wicked Wanda's that I filmed in the summertime. So, surprise, Wanda, we're going to promote you anyways a little later on. And I'm not sure who Helen is, but she's saying that you all look absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Helen.
And if you haven't joined the NCR LGBTQ2 group on Facebook, do so. Do so. Next question is for Christine. Growing up, there were no resources or info on transgender people that you could relate to. What resources and info did you find at the time to help you understand who you truly are?
Well, oddly enough, I was I was home from school sick one day and watching daytime television, and that's actually where I see the first person who was like me. And then from there, I
Do you remember the series or the show?
I was like one of those like Phil Donahue, or it was like really, it was bad.
Sally.
But nonetheless, I heard a couple of terms in that, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll check these out in my parents' Encyclopedia Britannica. And then, the terms now are kind of outdated, but nonetheless, I go to the library from there, and then I remember like going through the microfiche to look for articles. This is like pre-internet, right? And then anyway, I found a couple of books in the library as well. One that talked about there was like a chapter on Christine Jorgensen.
Okay.
That's how I chose my name, actually. So that's where Christine comes from.
So Wanda's asking what year would that have been? So
like
early 80s?
Like probably like late 70s, early 80s.
Okay. Yeah, because you said you were born in 72, so you're only a couple of years older than me, but not that many. Okay, if you.
Not that many.
But so did you actually
internet? So.
Did you actually find anything in the encyclopedia? Because I remember having those as a kid. Like we had the entire
2 words. I think it was. They had transsexuals in there, which is not, in my opinion, I'm okay with it. Like I refer to myself that way.
Yep.
But if I notice trans women, they get offended by it. But then there was another word, like I think it was transvestite or something like that. Was also.
Yeah, because of that must have been because of the Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of movie at that time that came out, right? And even making the poster, like I didn't know if I should put trans or transgender because I wanted male or female. It didn't really matter, but I didn't want to offend anyone, so it's hard. Go ahead.
What's interesting is transgender now is an umbrella term to include everybody. But like back when I transitioned, more than 20 years ago, transgender actually meant like, born in the wrong body or, that sort of thing compared to what transgender means now, which is totally vastly different.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and they use like post-op and pre-op. Like back then, they've dropped that quite a bit in conversation, but
like I know I'm from PSPC, like what Tanya was saying, and she's from that department as well. And I was part of the group that organized the transgender guide, which is now available to every single Canadian across the country. And it's not just for Government of Canada workers, it's for everyone. But it does tell employees and managers how they can go about changing their name, getting their ID cards changed, and the process that they need to go through. So, Tanya, that's a big document that you really need to go through because it will help you a lot throughout your journey and your transition.
I already have gone through it.
Okay, and have you found anything useful in it?
My manager and I refer to it to make my transition plan for work.
Oh, good. Good, because we were a big part to make sure that there were actually emails to help out to let the rest of the staff know. And because, I mean, it's for some people, a lot of the baby boomers are gone now from the government. So it's not as taboo as it used to be, but there's still we still have the barrier of the bathrooms, right? When we are back in government, there's still that huge barrier of what bathroom do they get to use, and you get to use whatever bathroom you are comfortable in, as far as I'm concerned. Like, it shouldn't be questioned.
Well, the guide has some suggestions about that. Like, the first day I'm back at the office, I could be escorted by my manager. That's an option, and even the first time I go to the bathroom, I could be escorted to the bathroom, although I work in a very small office, so I don't think that's really a problem.
Mm-hmm. All right. We got a couple of comments coming in. Wanda is saying, okay, I'm 54 and I've watched how this has progressed. And it was like derogatory back as then when people used it, Rocky Horror's education, which is true.
Yeah, that's true.
Christine, I am so proud of you to call you my friend. You are inspiring. Did you retain any of your early research from the encyclopedia/books?
No, I didn't. I didn't, honestly. I mean, I wasn't really thinking about that like as a little kid. I was just like...
it was long ago.
Anyway, thanks for chiming in though, Daria. I love you.
All right, so next question is for Tanya. You struggled with gender dysphoria since the age of 14, and you've dealt with mental health issues, challenges, including depression. What got you through it all these years to bring you to coming out on Christmas Eve?
It has kind of a complicated answer. So I got through it by a combination of factors. I got through it by living a lie, and I got through it because I experienced cyclical dysphoria. It's not constant, so it actually goes away and then comes back at unpredictable times. And I developed dysphoria as a teenager, and this was in the mid-2000s, and the psychiatrist I dealt with was pretty old, and they had no idea what to do about it. And the lie in question was, I was told that I was sick in the head, and that the treatment was to treat my mind, primarily being depression, which eventually morphed into chronic depression, and it kind of snowballed into being diagnosed with autism, and then eventually it was suggested to me by a doctor that I had borderline personality disorder. And I was able to get through it for that long because when I was in my 20s, my early 20s, I was not experiencing dysphoria for a number of years. And in that time, I was able to, by myself, I was able to take care of my depression, and I was able to build a life with friends and partners and activities, and I was quite happy and fulfilled for a long time. I decided to transition. Oh, hi, Moon. I decided to transition because I ran out of room to run, mentally speaking. I had, early in 2020, I had a major episode of dysphoria, which lasted for the entire year. And it essentially boiled down to a situation where I had to change and I had to accept myself for who I was or commit suicide. It got really bad.
And that's what a lot of people are all dealing with because of this lockdown, right? Which gave you more time to think about it, I'm sure.
I was experiencing this episode of dysphoria before lockdown.
Okay.
Yeah, so the lockdown was kind of problematic because I was talking to my therapist with the phone. And as an autistic individual, I do very poorly on the phone. I had a lot of problems with that.
Because you have to be, are you more of a visual? You need to see people or see how their body language is, or?
For me, it's more of a specific problem with me. When I was a kid, I developed a fear of telephones and I never completely got over it.
Okay. So do you have a mobile device now? Like?
Yes.
Okay.
I prefer texting.
Yeah. So you prefer not to talk, but you don't mind having the device. It's more of the, like, if you had to do one of those rotary phones, you'd probably go ballistic.
I actually know how to work a rotary phone.
Well, some kids don't.
Yeah. I remember pulse dialing and you had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So Gavin's chiming in saying bathrooms, I agree. Use whatever bathroom you want. Who cares? The idea of being escorted to the bathroom is a direct violation of someone's dignity. It's not their human right, if not their human right. So yeah, make sure you, whenever we do get back in, which I don't think is going to be anytime soon, it'll probably be another year before that happens.
I don't understand. Often it's men, and I don't understand what they think women do in the bathroom, but
yeah,
you close the door, you sit down, you pee, and wash your hands, hopefully, and then you go.
Yeah, because every lady goes into a stall and sits to pee, right? So there shouldn't be any issue for anybody going into a bathroom. But it was a huge debate, and I think it might be even in the transgender guide on suggestions on how that could be managed depending on the building, and you use the bathroom which you want until, if somebody has an issue, then you can all sit down and discuss it, is what I think we had suggested in there. Lana, question 2. You've been working on a year-long project with Ruth Dick, a local photographer. Would you like to talk about the self-love series that you were involved with, To Love Your Body, Scars and All?
Yes, I would actually. So, what was it? Last year, I think I was at a work party, and Ruth Dick was one of the photographers that came. And when I had posted on my Instagram before I deleted it recently, that I was going to document my journey through explant surgery, because there's like nothing out there for trans women that, have issues and whatever. At first I thought I had a rupture in my left breast implant, but it turned out that it was just the capsule had sort of like, I don't know, let go or something like that. They were almost 10 years old. And so I opted to have surgery to remove both of them, instead of fixing the one and not getting replacements. Because quite honestly, I was tired of having 34 triple Ds, very large. And after 10 years, it's like, okay, you know what? Like, I kind of want a new look. And so I opted to remove them. And so Ruth reached out to me and asked if she could be a photographer to sort of document my journey. And so this self-love series is actually not done yet. It started when I had the explants done in October of 2020, and it will finish probably in October of this year, if we can get back to some good, safe social distance photography.
Yeah,
You can
which
check
could
out,
be done, but it's a little difficult.
at the moment, yeah, especially since I'm trying to document some of my scar healing right now, which we have
She
done
has to get
some.
closer. Yeah.
Pardon?
She has to get closer to you, obviously, to take these pictures, or
Well, I mean, some of it, yes, but I'd like some different scenery than my apartment, you know?
yeah.
'Cause the last batch of photos, we did it in my apartment, but so I'm hoping at some point we can get outside. We
Mhm.
did do some shots with my implants because I actually held on to my implants for photography purposes. But yeah, so we're hoping to get the series on some kind of like, whether it be in a gallery or we decide to do like a virtual showing of
Yep.
the photos. You can check out some of her work at at photos_uncurated on Instagram.
Or Ruthie Dick
And
on Facebook.
pardon?
Or Ruthie Dick on
Ah,
Facebook. She's commenting as well. So yeah.
true. Yeah. And so the series really comes to self-love and self-acceptance. If I
Mhm.
had the self-love and self-acceptance before getting breast implants, I probably would not have gotten breast implants. But
Wow.
because we're so ingrained, especially as trans women and women just in general, we're sort of ingrained that you have to have big breasts. That's what makes a female, you know, big breasts, hips, you know, the whole 9 yards. But the reality is that if you just love yourself and accept yourself, you know, small boobs, medium boobs, big hips, small hips, no butt, big butt, you know, then we wouldn't have to inject what society says is feminine or
What you
womanly
need to
or
look
what
like.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many different types of women out there. You know, it's just be beautiful, love yourself for who you are, what you look like, and even accept all your flaws. Like I have a scar on my stomach. Now I've got more scars on my boobs. You know, it's just I'm full of scars, but you know, I love all of them because it makes me who I am today.
Well, then you are a huge Alicia Cara. Scars are beautiful. Let me tell you, girl.
Thank you.
Builds character, and you have been such a, and it is true, you are a staple in the community for many years. A lot of people have looked up to you, and that's why I'm so glad that you accepted to come on tonight, because you are amazing. All three of you, again, you are amazing. But Lana, you've been one of the pillars in the society for a long time, so kudos.
Thank you.
Kudos. Kim Keeley was saying that that's a huge weight off your in your chest, and good on you for sharing your journey. So she's proud of you as well.
Thank you.
Christine, you mentioned that you have gained people through common interests and who want the best for you, and having lived through a few rough years. Can you explain to us what you mean by that?
Well, I guess it goes back to childhood as well. Like, I mean, I wasn't allowed to have non-Christian friends. Like, so it was either you were allowed to be my friend because you're a Christian, and then the other scenario was if you're not a Christian, you needed to be converted so that you could become my friend. Where
Wow.
it sounds ridiculous, which it is, right? But that's basically what the rules were when I was a little kid. So, but today, obviously, it's all about just, hey, I really like that song. Oh yeah, well, me too. And then you strike up a conversation, you become friends, and
Because you were saying in your bio that your parents were very religious, and you weren't even allowed to listen to a lot of jazz music or anything, right?
yeah, like I mean, like classical music was risky. They bought me a guitar,
Wow.
so they bought me a guitar so that I could learn hymns. No, I didn't learn
Wow.
hymns, I'll tell you that.
Well, and I see lots of your little videos that you're posting of you playing, and good on you. Like it's music is always soothing for me as well. So whenever I'm feeling anxious or angry or whichever, I mean, it's 3 weeks now that I haven't smoked, so I listen to a lot of music now. Let's just say to try and get my head out of a lot of things. So.
Yeah, it's great. Like for anybody that thinks that musicians are underpaid, well, they probably like during like or overpaid. I mean, sorry, they need to rethink that, especially during COVID, because I don't know what we would do without music.
So Gavin wants to know how long you've been a musician, because he notices guitars in your screen.
I'm reluctant to even call myself a musician. I mean, I like to play guitar. I play it like for fun, and I'm okay. I'm intermediate.
Did you take lessons or you're self-taught?
A few lessons when I was like really young, and then
Okay.
I mean, I picked it up, put it down. I gave it up for actually nails. Actually, when I started transition, I had these like ridiculously long nails, and I could type with them, but you can't play guitar with them.
No, it's very difficult. And you don't like using a guitar pick or?
No, I just like fingers. Yeah.
Oh, natural. So it's a better sound, isn't it?
Sorry.
It's a better sound when you're using your natural fingers instead of a guitar pick, or?
I don't know. Well, I don't know about that. It's just like a personal preference, I guess. Like I've heard like great players that play with like long nails. There's lots of players that play that way, but for me, I struggled with that. So
Yeah, I'd be afraid to pop one.
So
even if they're porcelain too, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So Ruth is saying that she was impressed by Lana's confidence and openness in her videos about this, and she is beautiful, and her story is so important and compelling. So she wants to thank you, Lana. We got to keep reading these because we are on the radio as well as of last week. So everybody in Blast the Radio Land, thank you so much for listening. And all these videos will be available. Well, this live video will be available on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube after this. So go to the diversitycapital.tv pages and you'll be able to see this forever. It'll be here forever. Last question for Tanya, and then we're going to do a quick little commercial break kind of thing. Do you intend to continue to be the Swizzles House Queen? And if so, or what will the title change to main hostess or something? Or
yes, I intend to remain as the house queen at Swizzles. I still like doing it, but most importantly, the show is going through a lot right now with the state of coronavirus and the shutdowns and the restrictions and the new rules and stuff. So I'm trying to guide it through the storm with good management, administration, organization. In terms of title, I don't think I'm going to change it because I'm a drag queen and the title reflects the person that runs the show. And in that vein, if say a drag king ever ran the show and they wanted to be known as the house king, I would support that.
Okay, cool. We've got Lana's parents that are watching, proud parents watching you, Lana, and you ladies are amazing. Love you all watching us on Twitch. Thank you so much. Want to say anything to your parents?
Hi, Mom and Dad. Thank you for watching. Love
And
you.
Wanda's telling Christine, I enjoy playing the guitar as well. No pick. Thank you for sharing. You're highly inspirational. It's great to hear. Claudia Soa, thank you for sharing. You will be inspiring people who need to be inspired. And I completely agree with all these comments that are coming up. Oops, gotta get that off. So we're going to do a quick little commercial break, but it's not really a commercial break. So this is the part of the show halfway through where I like to try and promote the community. So any community businesses out there, if you want to submit us a little video clip, it has to be sound and audio and visual. So for the folks on the radio that can hear, we're going to do a Wicked Wanda's one where Lana's going to talk for a few moments above or over the video that we're going to see and telling you about a few of the specials. Then we've got Gets No Point TV and a little commercial from Jeunesse Dem. So Lana, go for it. So I can't unmute the mic. I've been trying to unmute the mic with that.
Okay.
So there's got to be another way. One moment. Where there's a Will, there's an Andre. Watch bien ça. Okay, I'll play the other two commercials, and as I do that, I will find the Wicked Wanda commercial, and we'll still play it. So give me one moment. Here goes the other two.
Bonjour DITC Social, ici Alex de Jeunesse STEM. Malheureusement, la pandémie de la COVID-19 a forcé beaucoup de jeunes LGBTQIA2+, à s'isoler, que ce soit mentalement, socialement ou d'une autre façon. Jeunesse STEM est là pour vous. Nous sommes la ressource pour les jeunes allosexuels de la région de l'Outaouais. On t'encourage à participer à nos groupes de soutien pour nos jeunes de 14 à 25 ans, de prendre rencontre avec moi de façon individuelle ou de recommander l'organisme à quelqu'un qui pourrait en avoir de besoin. Pour plus d'informations, tape Jeunesse STEM sur Facebook ou Instagram.
Okay, hold on. I know, I need people to help.
Gatineau.tv est partout en Outaouais, autant au niveau de la culture, de l'événementiel, mais aussi au niveau de vos entreprises. Si vous avez un projet spécial que vous aimeriez promouvoir, un événement que vous avez créé, eh bien, n'hésitez pas à parler avec un de nos représentants à Gatineau.tv. Vous pouvez nous écrire via notre adresse info@commercialgatineau.tv. Vous aussi, prenez avantage de Gatineau.tv.
Gatineau.tv.
All right, so give me one moment because now I gotta separate my screens. Oh, I'm on the fly here. This is wonderful. Seriously, shares this and here. All right, Lana, you can go ahead. Here we go.
Wanda's Zone is open for curbside pickup Monday to Friday, 10 to 2, order online, and they're picked up locally, and or Wanda herself will be delivering your orders throughout Ottawa as well as close Ottawa areas. We got some sales online as well as all pleaser shoes are 50% off until we have none left. Come get your shoes while you can.
Right.
BDSM for vibrators, beautiful lingerie from Handmade Noir directly from Germany, and shop local.
Shop local indeed. So Wicked Wandas is on Facebook at facebook.com/Wicked Wandas. Okay, so Audrey really needs to get some technical. Go ahead, Lana. Sorry.
wickedwandas.ca.
There's a lag with your camera, so whenever I talk, you can just keep talking, girl. Just go for it.
Okay, so yeah, there was a bit of lag there. You can reach us at info@wickedwandas.ca for any questions that you may have. And you can call the store from 10 to 2 and visit us online at wickedwandas.ca.
Right. So we got a question that just came in. Even a lack of solidarity with our family. So Bill is giving us a comment. Despite being one so-called LGBTQ2+ family, there can also be a lot of ignorance and even a lack of solidarity within our own family, especially when there are intersecting discriminations. How can gay men and others be stronger allies with transgender people? Good question. How can the community be stronger allies? Yeah, who wants to go?
Well, I think that the community should actually be present and supporting trans people. Quite often, transgender people exist in a bit of isolation, and something like often we tend to be alone and not very visible. I think there's something to be said about strength in numbers, and that would be the first step, in my opinion.
Okay, Lana?
I would definitely say that just like gay men were discriminated many years ago for multiple reasons, you know, people either not understanding what it's like to be gay. I remember back in the day where people, like heterosexual people, thought gay men were pedophiles. If, you know, anyone can remember that. And so it's sort of the same thing with us, you know, we want to accept you, so you need to accept us. We're all people. We all bleed the same color. We all have bones underneath our skin. You know, it just accept everyone for who they are.
And it's just like, so as a gay man, we actually are in the closet for the longest time until we actually come out. And for the transgender community, it's the same thing, right? You're technically in a closet until you become and announce who you really are, right? So we do have similarities.
Exactly.
We just
It's
have to.
Well, exactly. It's like being a caterpillar and then you turn into a butterfly. For us, we change genders. And for you guys, it's, you know, being able to be who you are and express it openly.
Yeah. Christine, do you have anything to add?
I mean, I echo like everything that's been said. I guess like the one thing that I would look at is like just between like cisgender and transgender. Like I don't necessarily understand the cisgender experience either. Like, but
Yeah.
because that's not me. But at the same time, I'm still respectful. Like my boss is cisgender, and I do what she tells me to do.
I'm looking for the day where we don't even have to say LGBTQ2+, that we're all just people.
Yeah,
you know, I had to announce that I had to announce at World Pride in Toronto a couple of years ago, and I actually had to read the LGBTQ2+, and then it went on, and I was saying all these letters, and by the end of it, I was like, and if I didn't announce your letter, please send them an email to the World Pride Committee to make sure that you're on the list next year. Like, it's getting very long. It's getting very, very long. We got Kim in New Zealand. Kim in New Zealand. We have the world's first transgender person to be elected mayor and a member of parliament. Georgina Bayer also got the Order of Merit for services to the LGBTQ2+ rights. So I am proud of you all for your stories. That's wonderful. And Julie C. Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that, you know, it comes to a point where it's the alphabet community or the alphabet soup, as I've also heard. You know, we're just freaking people. And I think all these letters and numbers and initials and everything is getting out of hand. We're all people. We're all one community. I don't see why we need to have separations or numbers or plus signs or whatever. Like, we're all people. We should be all part of the community and stop, you know, just adding to what's already there.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
The labels, really. Julie C. Chef is saying trans people have been there from the beginning of the community. It's a matter of mutual respect, really. Just love one another. Dan is saying that's why I created an all-welcoming group so that we all have a safe space to come to be with others. I also say that Tees Pub is an all-welcoming place.
Yeah.
All right, another question. Lana, I understand funding is still up in the air, but do you want to talk about the new suicide campaign that you are a part of called Today is Better, as we have lost quite a few community members this last year?
So 2 years ago, I was asked to be a part of a suicide campaign called Today is Better. And I'm I'm representing the LGBTQ community in Ottawa. So I share my story with suicide, and there's a couple of other people, somebody who represents the Indigenous community, as well as some other people. I share my story with suicide. Many years ago, I tried to commit suicide with a kitchen knife at my parents' house, and my brother and my dad had taken me to one of the hospitals to try and, you know, calm me down. It was a very low moment in my life in transition. I was suffering from severe depression and anxiety. But so I share my story, and I'm happy to say that I don't suffer from those two things anymore, which is amazing. I'm very happy that I did not follow through with the suicide, because I would not have been able to experience everything that I have over the last, you know, couple of years with doing burlesque and, you know, getting my job at Wicked Wanda's and being a staple in the community. And, you know, depression and anxiety is a real thing, especially now with COVID. I personally know some people who have committed suicide through this. And for myself, you know, it's very easy to think negatively. But for me, I think positively every single day. I'm thankful for the things that I have in my life, my friends, my family. If it wasn't for them, I don't know where I would be. And so by thinking positively and removing the negativity out of my life, whether it's people or things or clutter for that matter, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and things will get better. There will be a cure for this freaking COVID crap. There will be some good vaccines, and, you know, just hold on a little bit longer, because, you know, life is worth living.
And if there's anybody out there that is thinking or having some issues, please feel free. You can always send diversityinthecapital.tv a message, or myself, Andre Prue M, on Facebook. I will make the time to talk with you. And I'm sure anybody up here, Lana, Tanya, or Christine, any of you have anything to add?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that the campaign is coming out at some point. I'm not sure exactly the date, because it's been pushed and pushed and pushed, mainly because of government funding and whatnot. But, you know, it will eventually come to air, and it will be predominantly, I believe, showing on TV, train stations, because train stations are not train stations, but trains are number one way out for people for some reason. LGBT people, as well as other types of people who suffer depression, anxiety, seem to like to go out with a train. So, you know,
you mean like a train on the track, like the light rail or a subway or something?
Subway, trains, via rail, anything of a train sort. People like to kill themselves with trains. So the campaign will predominantly be at train stations, but it will be on TV as well as radio at some point.
Cool. Well, we will look out for that. And thank you so much for sharing your story and being a part of that. Christine, Tanya, anything to add?
She covered it wonderfully. So.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So I don't want to go too much into specifics about myself, but in my experience, transitioning and starting hormone replacement therapy was the antidote for suicidal ideation. And the point I want to make is that a mental health crisis is surmountable. I mean, very difficult, mind you. It can seem almost impossible, but with the right help and the right people and the right effort, I think all mental health crises are surmountable. So if someone is having a crisis right now, I highly encourage them to call the crisis line or or get some kind of help, because you can deny yourself the opportunity to live a very happy and fulfilling life. You don't know if that's just around the corner for you or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not an easy subject, and it's not an easy task. We have lost several people in the community, so all I can say is please hang in there, and if you ever need somebody, please reach out. Don't sit there in silence, and don't take this all by yourself. Christine, we got a few more. We still got 10 minutes left, so we're going to get through. I did put a lot of questions in our little script that we've got, but we'll go through. I'm going to give you each a good 3 or 4, possibly even 5 minutes to talk about whatever question you want that you want to get across. We already talked about you playing guitar. Tanya, actually, let's go to your other question, Christine. Give me 1 second here. The other questions are for all of you. So, Tanya, your last question is: you claim to be a strong advocate for autistic individuals and those otherwise with disabilities. Can you tell us what that means for you and what you intend on doing?
Whenever I've competed in a pageant, I've always, or I've tried to as much as possible, tell people what my platform is, that I'm an autistic individual. And my hope is, by doing that, I show people that I'm overcoming the big challenges with the disability. And I think I'm becoming very successful at that. I run a drag house. I have 3 drag children right now, so like proteges. And I coach them, I teach them, I give them all my old clothing that I don't want anymore. But like, I also try to get them booked at my show at Swizzles, and if they're underage, I try to coordinate with someone that's running an all ages show so they can perform. And for their trouble, like if they perform at Swizzles in my bar, I do pay them. And it's kind of like the same thing with transgender people. Like, the more visible autistic people are, and the more they're doing stuff in the community, the more they're integrated and accepted, I think the stigmas about it will be removed, and their outlook for autistic people will improve, and it will, I guess, even it could even improve their outlook on like job prospects or like life opportunities and stuff like that.
And a lot of autistic people are very, very smart. I mean, we follow The Good Doctor, which is an amazing show. But and yourself, you graduated in engineering or something, right? As I said at the beginning.
It's a
architectural
program between design and engineering.
Yeah, so you probably have a lot of attention to details that a lot of people don't.
Maybe I think I'm smart. The jury's still out on that.
Well, see, I'm dyslexic and ADHD, but that just means that I have a lot of attention to detail, and I can do 15 things at the same time. They might not all get done at the same time, but eventually they will get done. All right, here's some couple of questions for all of you, and anybody can answer, or all of you can answer. It's up to you. What are some misconceptions about the transgender women and men?
Who wants to go first?
Christine?
I have,
I think Christine cut out. She did. Lana, go ahead.
I would probably say misconception is we're rapists, which we're not. But that has more to do with like the whole bathroom situation. I'm just there to pee, okay? I'm there to do my business and get the hell out.
Yeah.
Another misconception is that we are not horny 24/7. We don't do porn, or at least I don't do porn. I can't speak for anyone else, but we're not porn stars. We can have regular relationships just like anyone else. What else? Misconceptions.
I have an answer.
Tanya, go ahead.
I actually ran into this problem when I was thinking about transitioning, and this is definitely something that comes from the conservative sect of society, that if you are transgender, you have to adopt very, very strict behaviors and interests that are seen as being traditional of your gender. And the reality is that that's not true. I developed a lot of, I would say, masculine interests in my life because I lived as a cis man for 28 years, and I'm still interested in them. And being transgender means that I'm actually more interested in them now than I was before because I'm happier with my life. I like airplanes. I visited the aviation museum more often as a transgender woman than as a cis man. And because you just, at a certain point, you stop caring about what people think you should be into.
Mm-hmm. And you shouldn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's what you think, right? Julie C is saying turf rubbish. I'm not sure what that means, but...
Trans exclusion radical feminist.
Okay. Christine, you're back.
Yeah, sorry about that. My laptop was saying that I had 50%, and then it just decided to crash on me. So
yeah, so this platform does drain the batteries very fast. Did you want to speak on the misconception? Go ahead.
For the misconceptions, so I don't know what has already been said, but I guess it kind of, one of the big ones is the trans monster narrative. So you see this like time again in films, and so that's one like pretty big misconception. And you could probably watch the movie, the documentary Disclosure on Netflix.
Okay.
So they talk quite a bit about that and go through like the history of film and how trans women are portrayed in film, which is quite often negatively. So that's the one thing. And then another one, a big misconception is that that somehow we're like imposters that are just trying to like win Olympic gold medals or something like that. Like people actually transition just so.
Yeah, like fool people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so before this show today, I was so obviously next week I'm interviewing Carol Pope, which you might have seen the promotional for it. But I had to pre-record the interview today with Carol because she's going to be traveling next Wednesday, so she can't do the live show. But I asked her one question, and I'm going to give you a little tidbit right now about what her biggest accomplishment or proudest accomplishment was. And she said that it was her song and herself being on the series Transparent.
Okay.
And that's her biggest accomplishment. And I've seen the series, and it was a great series. I'm not sure if any of you watched it, what your thoughts on that series was. You never saw it?
I've seen some parts of it, but what I thought was interesting is why couldn't they get a trans actor to play the role instead of a cisgendered male to play a trans role?
Yeah, and that was quite a few years ago too, right? I think that was filmed. Just like I was in a TV, a made-for-TV movie called A Soldier Girl, that also had a transgender that fell in love with a military man, and he ends up getting killed at the end of it. But it was a great movie, and it's actually on YouTube. We actually watched it one night on YouTube. It's a great movie. So find A Soldier Girl. It's a great movie, all filmed in Toronto. Ladies, I want to thank you so much. It's been an hour, and I appreciate all of you so much for being here. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all being here and sharing your stories. Make sure you stick around after my final little video, because I'd like to give you a proper little virtual hug goodbye after I do all my whole thing here. Last comment from Paul Robinson. Such bravery. Thank you for sharing your journey. Especially proud of you, Lana. You are an inspiration.
Thank you, Paul.
TB Blake, I think Tanya knows who that is with 3 hearts.
That is. Hi.
And Ruth Dick is thanking you all so much. With that, I'm going to hit play on my teleprompter once again. So, support LGBTQ2+ business as much as you can. They're all online, so please support your local commerce by going to their site and buying something to give that special someone for the next official holiday. For all you romantics out there, Wicked Wanda's might be a very good place to stop and get something that you might need or want. Spice up your life. Only you can do that. I want to thank you all for being here with me live from Finley Creek and from your homes. I wish you all lots of love and goodness during this time, and look forward to seeing what you've all got going on through social media. Share your stories with me, and you can see it right here on Wednesday nights. Next week, I am talking to the legendary icon Carol Pope, which will be here for a 30-minute interview, including her new song featuring Church of Trees, Rob Prowse, as well as an update from Jeunesse Idem, a community organization that aims to improve the quality of life for lesbian, gays, bisexual, transgender, and transsexual and questioning youth between the ages of 14 and 25, as well as to sensitize the population of the Ottawa region of the realities to diversity and sexual orientations of gender identities. La semaine prochaine, j'en parlerai avec une légende, Carol Pope, un icône qui sera en entrevue de 30 minutes avec moi. Et aussi, je parle à Jeunesse Idem, un organisme communautaire qui vise à améliorer la qualité de vie des jeunes gays, bisexuels, lesbiennes, transgenres et transsexuels, et avec les jeunes questionnants de 14 à 25 ans, ainsi que sensibiliser la population de l'Outaouais. Please go to blasttheradio.com and listen to the one and only Milkman every morning from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And catch Jesse and Jenna's Messy podcast that Lana's been on. You can check that out too, as well as the BTR podcast page. If you're not listening to blasttheradio.com, John the Milkman Milky has a boogie break every morning at 10:30 to get your blood flowing. I want to tell you to take care of each other, Ottawa Gatineau. Prenez soin de l'un et l'autre. Et on se voit la semaine prochaine. Bye!
Bye, everybody.